Nigerian musicians of nowadays, what do you really see? I remember growing up when we used to watch predominantly foreign movies and listen to predominantly foreign music. And there was this transition when Nigerian musicians began to experiment and come up with different kinds of beats and different kinds of rhythms. And that moved from stage to stage, and it's got to this stage today where Nigerian musicians actually do music in Nigeria, 100% Nigerian music, and it's sold all over the world. It's indeed an interesting feat. If you look at things like this, it's easy for you to miss it. But if you pay keen attention and understand, and you begin to look at the transformation that's taking place in this particular industry, in this particular sector of our economy in the past 20 years or so, you'll be amazed what we've been able to achieve. You see, musicians like Burna Boy, Whiskey, Davido, you name them. I tell you now, these guys are nothing short of legends. You look at them now like, oh, what they're doing looks okay, it's absolutely normal. To be honest with you, many years ago, this would be a wild dream of somebody. Many musicians lived and died hoping to get to the level that these guys are today. When I look at it in this sense, I begin to think there's something about this generation of Nigerian musicians. There's something they do that a lot of us need to learn from. I'm really, really thrilled by the achievement of these young men and women, by the leadership that they've showed, the leadership role that they play in Africa. They relate with American and European musicians as contemporaries, not as inferiors. That makes me proud as a Nigerian. And I cannot tell you how much I personally celebrate these musicians. I cannot tell you how much I personally respect these musicians because they are showing us a direction that a lot of us need to be going in. Back in the days, people used to move to the US with the intention of going into music to then make it. A lot of them did go, but many of them didn't succeed. These days, people literally move from US back to Nigeria to make music and make money. How is that possible? But that's happening now. Children who were born in the US, who have citizenship and everything, who could have preferred never to come here, they come here because they want to make music. This is where the real music lives. And I thoroughly enjoy that feeling that you can be Nigerian and be in Nigeria and succeed in your craft. It's been a journey that I'm personally grateful for. Grateful for the opportunity to be part of this generation where we can see these legends, where we can touch them, where we can talk to them on social media, in different events, and see them and say, wow, I celebrate you, sir. At first glance, if I asked you, what do you think of these musicians? You probably would tell me, oh, they are so flashy, oh, they are so profane, oh, they are so irresponsible, whatever word it is you want to use. Oh, God, they are flawed in character and blah, blah, blah. They are drug addicts, they are this, they are that. But believe me, all these attributes that you probably mentioned applies to not just musicians, applies to everybody else, including you. There are some parts that apply to you. The reason why you probably haven't picked up your own is because you've not put yourself out, or you've not put yourself out enough. You've not exposed yourself, or you've not exposed yourself enough. When you do that, you see your own flaws will show as well. So if we look at them from an economic perspective, these people have engaged in a transition. This generation has made music from an import commodity to an export commodity. That's exactly what they've achieved. Instead of us losing money importing music, we now make money exporting music. We now make money because foreigners pay our artists in dollars, in pounds, in euros to perform for them. They fill arenas, they sell out records, they sell out arenas, they do big concerts. And I look at that and I feel immensely proud. I go to airport lounges in Europe and I listen to Nigerian music. I listen to foreign radio stations and I hear Nigerian music being played. And it makes me immensely proud. And then I say, wow, we can actually translate this level of progress, this sort of transition in different facets of our economy. There's something this generation of Nigerian musicians did or are doing that we need to learn from. The first is that I think they believe in themselves. They believed in themselves so much that they had the audacity to put themselves forward in the international community, to reach out, to try to get themselves in the number, to get themselves counted, to get themselves recognized, to put out content that people will turn heads and say, wow, that's a good beat. Wow, that's a lovely song. Also, they worked on their content. It's true that you hear fusion of vernacular and English and all, but at the end of the day, they sang in ways that everybody can understand. You might not understand the entire song, but you pick up the basic key points in the song. They believed in themselves. They worked on their products. They made their products internationally acceptable. I remember when Wizkid sang his first hit song. Initially, I didn't know he was a Nigerian. And I wasn't surprised. That song went far and wide all over the world. And since then, it's been back to back. Different artists have come up as well. And they've done much, 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 much better than we ever thought many years ago. People used to sing in their song, I win Grammy, I win Grammy. This generation, they are winning Grammys. It's no longer a dream that somebody had in his career. Oh, I'll win Grammy, I'll win Grammy. These days, they are actually winning it. It's something that our nation ought to celebrate. It's something that our nation ought to give these people a lot of regard, a lot of respect for. But then what can we learn from it? We can learn to do the transition from an inbound economy to an outbound economy. But what I mean is not in an absolute sense, but what I mean is from an economy that always brings in to an economy that takes out. If you take out more than you bring in, you are a net exporting economy. If you bring in more than you take out, you are a net importing economy. Now, what they have done in music, Nigeria is more or less a net exporting economy when it comes to music. It's true that we still listen to foreign songs. It's true that we still watch foreign movies. It's true that we still engage with the international community with products that come from other places. But other people engage with ours as well, even more. This is a transition that we can take into agriculture. This is a transition that we can take into manufacturing. This is a transition that we can take into every area of our national life. If we target commodities that are in high demand in our country, things that we need the most, things that we import the most, and then we engage in this sort of transition from importing to beginning to produce what we can consume locally and then beginning to produce much so we can export. I tell you, our country will be in a different place in another 20 years. And that's exactly what I say that is going to happen. But I just felt I'll bring this particular point up and extol these men and women who have made our country proud, who have made us to see that you can be Nigerian and you can be in Nigeria and you can succeed very well. That have made the international community to see that young people in Nigeria are not all about fraud, that young people in Nigeria are responsible enough to do business with, that young people in Nigeria are responsible enough to fight for change in their fatherland in a positive sense by contributing in whatever field that you are. These Nigerian musicians of this generation are goodwill ambassadors of our country. In case you've never seen it like that, that's exactly what I'm saying to you now. They are goodwill ambassadors of our nation. They should be treated as such. They deserve accolades. These guys deserve national awards. I am immensely proud of these men and women. I can keep mentioning their names all day. You know them already. But I tell you, I respect them, I celebrate them, and you should too. I'm Nigerian and I'm proud. And when I see good things in Nigeria, I want to be the first to shout. I want to be the first to say it out loud. I will leave you to ponder. I'll leave you to think about it. Maybe you never saw it this way. Begin to look at it this way. My name is Azubike, and this is Discourse. Thank you. I'll see you in the next video.